for watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, today, middleweight champion Gennady Golovkin, he made weight. He weighed in at 154.4 pounds. And David Lemieux, he weighed in at 159 pounds. Now, looking at the weigh-in, the first thing I noticed is Lemieux is actually shorter than Golovkin. Now, a lot of times people look at a fighter being shorter as having a disadvantage. But in this case, I don't know if it's really a disadvantage for Lemieux, because Golovkin is not used to fighting opponents shorter than him. The majority of opponents that he faces, they're often taller than he is. Now, and if you're a masterful boxer, like an Andre Ward, a Guillermo Rigo, and you have a guy shorter than you, then it would seem to be more of an advantage for the technician, the boxer, right? But when you're a very aggressive fighter and you're fighting an opponent that's shorter than you, I don't know if it's as much of an advantage. Anyway, let's talk more about this fight. Well, the Golovkin versus Lemieux fight is tomorrow. And I'll tell you right now, as a boxing fan, I can't wait to watch this fight. Just because it's going to be explosive. We're going to get to see how Gennady Golovkin deals with another power puncher, an aggressive power puncher that may be coming forward. And we also get to start talking about what's next for Golovkin, assuming he gets past Lemieux, which I believe that he will. Matter of fact, not only do I believe Golovkin will get past David Lemieux, I think this is going to be an easy fight for Gennady Golovkin. Let me break it down. You know, Gennady Golovkin, he likes to use the moniker, Mexican style. And of course, it's good to market his brand and cater to the Mexican fan base. That's all smart for marketing purposes. But skill-wise, when Golovkin calls himself Mexican style, in my own opinion, I believe he's selling himself short. I believe Golovkin, he isn't giving himself enough credit when it comes to his skills. It really complicates things when people use phrases like Mexican style. Because when you think of Mexican style, what fighters do you think of? We know it's not Juan Manuel Marquez, who arguably is top 3, one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time, because Juan Manuel Marquez is a counterpuncher, okay? We know it's not Canelo Alvarez, because we seen Canelo Alvarez doing the Floyd Mayweather shoulder roll. I've seen him moving around the ring, showing foot movement. Canelo Alvarez is a boxer puncher. I mean, we know it's not Miguel Vasquez, because all he does is move around the ring. We know it's not Carlos Molina, because all he did was move around the ring and tie you up. It's not Jesse Vargas. It's not the undefeated prospect who is probably one of the best prospects right now, Jesse Magdaleno, who grew up out here in Las Vegas. Matter of fact, my youngest son used to train with him at the gym. But that guy, Jesse Magdaleno, he has more of a Floyd Mayweather style. Extremely flashy, uses the Floyd Mayweather shoulder roll, tremendous hand speed, reflexes, counter-punching ability, fight on the inside, fight on the outside. That's not Mexican style, all right? So the question is, what Mexican fighters today are fighting this quote-unquote Mexican style? And the only fighters I can really think of are the ones that aren't that successful, which is Brandon Rios. I hear Margarito is trying to make a comeback. That is traditional Mexican style. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., that is traditional Mexican style. When you hear those words, Mexican style, these are the fighters that you think of. But to me, this is not Gennady Golovkin. See, because traditional Mexican style fighters like Margarito and Julio Cesar Chavez, they came in face first. They were known for having a terrific chin, not having a terrific defense, okay? And that's the reason why I don't see Golovkin as having this traditional Mexican style. Golovkin is known more for his defense than his chin. Golovkin is not the type of fighter that's going to walk through 3 or 4 of your best shots and then come back with 6 or 7 of his shots. He's not that type of fighter. He's the type of person to walk you down and avoid the majority of your shots and then get off his shots, right? Now, and I'm not saying that Golovkin is as good as this guy, but I think it would be more suitable for Golovkin to say he's Tyson style. Because see, Tyson was an extremely aggressive fighter, but Tyson had a terrific defense. You see, that's more of what Golovkin is. I wouldn't say Golovkin has a defense as good as Mike Tyson, but his defense is far more superior than the great Julio Cesar Chavez. With that all being said, like I told you guys before, I think I said it before, I believe this is going to be an easy fight for Gennady Golovkin. Now, when the fight was first signed, I always picked Golovkin to win the fight, but I thought maybe it'd be more competitive. Even though Golovkin has an aggressive style, I look at him kind of like Lucas Matisse. He's more of a boxer puncher to me. Because like I said, he's not the type of dumb fighter who just gets hit with everything. Golovkin, he has a little bit of rhythm to him. He can set you up. He has a terrific jab. He has a terrific amateur pedigree. And he knows how to box. So with that all being said, him fighting against someone like David Lemieux is right up Golovkin's alley. Because he's looking at this as the smart fighter versus the dummy. And we know who the smart fighter is going to be in this fight. I assure you, if Golovkin is in the ring with a guy who can probably match his power, Golovkin is going to do everything he possibly can to make sure that he hardly ever gets touched by David Lemieux. If Golovkin gets hit with a couple of left hooks, I will be surprised. I expect to see a little bit of boxing from Golovkin. I think he's going to surprise fans and show a little bit of his boxing ability. He may be in there floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. Because Golovkin ain't trying to get hit. Okay? He's not trying to get hit. He wants to knock out his opponent, but he has a good enough defense to where he doesn't have to always get hit. So we'll see. But then again, at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe David Lemieux surprises everyone. Maybe he jumps in the ring and he starts boxing. We've seen this a lot of times in the past, guys. You get 2 aggressive fighters and everybody like, oh man, this is going to be war, and these guys are going to meet in the center of the ring and just go toe-to-toe, etc., right? And then all of a sudden, one of those aggressive, flat-footed fighters, all of a sudden, for that fight, decides he's going to start bouncing on his toes and boxing. We've seen this in the Matisse versus Ruslan Provodnikov fight. Remember that? Everybody thought it was going to be this all-out war. What did Matisse do? Matisse, he boxed. He tied up Ruslan Provodnikov whenever Provodnikov got on the inside, and he moved around the ring and he boxed. Now, that was a great fight. I'm not taking anything away from the fight. I'm just telling you, when you have 2 aggressive fighters like this, usually one of those fighters decides to box. In this case, for all we know, it could be Golovkin, it could be David Lemieux, or it could be back and forth, where they take turns. One minute it's Golovkin coming forward, then the next minute it's Lemieux coming forward. But if Lemieux is just going in there face first like he always does, I don't see this fight going past 4 rounds. I see Golovkin making sure he doesn't get hit with a single power shot. And when I say power shot, I'm mainly talking about the hooks. I see Golovkin right now training himself, preparing himself to avoid all of those big bombs. And then eventually catching Lemieux with one of his big bombs and knocking him out. So I give this fight maybe about 4 rounds. If this fight, makes it to the championship rounds, if we talking about 8th, 9th, 10th round, then Lemieux may have a better chance. I mean, with the reputation that Golovkin does have, it would seem the longer the fight goes, the better of a chance Lemieux has of pulling the upset. I think Lemieux's best chance would be to smother Golovkin, smother his punches, because Golovkin is the type of power puncher that needs a certain distance to throw his power shots. So if you got your head on his chest and you're smothering him, Golovkin is not really comfortable fighting that close. This is what we've seen. We've seen this in the Willie Monroe fight, and we definitely seen it in the Kasim Uma fight. Now, the problem with David Lemieux is his style is similar to Golovkin, at least the way he punches, because he's more of a mid-range, far-range type of hooker, right? Once again, he ain't gonna just put his head in your chest and just smother you with punches, with very short punches. That's not really Lemieux's style, but who knows? For all we know, he could be working on doing something like that against Gennady Golovkin. Now, when it comes to Golovkin, I think all he has to do is just basically pepper Lemieux with jabs. Eventually, he's going to land his right hand, and then he's going to start setting up punches all from his jab. Hooks, right hands, body shots, etc. It's all going to be working off the jab. Once again, this is why I say Golovkin is almost selling himself short, claiming that he has a Mexican style. Because traditionally, Mexican style fighters, real Mexican style fighters, they don't use the jab too often. They like to get on the inside and throw hooks to the body, uppercuts, right hands, right? Don't get me wrong, they jab, but the jab is not one of the main weapons, okay? When it comes to Golovkin, I believe his jab is one of his main weapons, and it's one of his most effective weapons. You know, I thought it was pretty comical when Golovkin said recently he's not afraid of David Lemieux at all. And I thought to myself, why would you be afraid? You're a huge favorite. This guy Lemieux is a huge underdog. I mean, it's not like you're fighting against Andre Ward, right? So with that all being said, I'm predicting that Golovkin wins this fight easy by the 4th round. I'm looking forward to watching the fight. I won't be paying to watch it, but I will be watching it. So for now, guys, that's all I got. I'm on to the next one.